Is the Six Nations over for the French following defeat against England? I, for one, sure hope not, but how they respond this week against Italy will be absolutely telling. Hello, amateurs. Welcome back to the Six Nations series. I'll be here with you to the end of the tournament and beyond, so hit subscribe down below to make sure you don't miss out on any of those great future episodes. Now, that England game for the French was a wild affair. They butchered a ton of try-scoring chances. Myself and Phil Greenaway went into it in great detail. I'll link it up there for you. So go and check that one out for all the details about how France lost the first game of this tournament. Now, pre-tournament, I spoke to my friend Jerome Morzan, and he said last year, after losing to the Irish on the opening night, that was kind of it for them. Like, the tournament was over as far as they were concerned because they couldn't do the Grand Slam. They'd lost to their biggest rivals in that tournament. I hope we don't see the same approach or response again from the French this season. Hopefully, they'll go out because there's still a tournament to be won, even if the Grand Slam is not available. And in this video, I'm going to be looking at what team I think the French will pick for this weekend's game against Italy in Rome. And honestly, probably your guess is as good as mine. Trying to keep up with the squad updates for this French team is nigh on impossible. They must have a revolving door at their training centre because every single week they've got players in, players out, some that come back for a bit, then they leave again. It is all over the place. How they keep track of it, I do not know. I certainly can't. However, some headlines, because they have got a lot of big players back available again this week. Back in are Odegaard, Flamand, Jelonch, Slimani, Taufifenua and Wardy. And that's just in the forwards. Out in the backs, they've got Leo Barry and most importantly, Gael Fickou also back in the squad. I mean, it's absolutely wild. I've no idea how many people they've had in camp this year, but it must be 60 plus, I'd imagine, for the French. That can't be easy for like continuity and just getting to understand the game plan, all that kind of stuff. It must be quite difficult, but each country has different cultures with this kind of thing. Out of the squad, I can only sort of pick out one that's a real big name and a real big person, and that is Georges-Henri Colombe, who's not involved this week. I've been dropping in from the match day 23 every week in these videos, and he's out now. I can't see a reason why. I don't know. I can't see that he's injured or maybe he's just been dropped. I'm not sure. But he is not with the French squad this week. And still out, most importantly, is Romain Ntamack, who they tried to get him available again following a 3-week ban. But it was deemed that the Toulouse game last week is null and void in terms of that ban because Romain Ntamack is one of these premium players for France. And this is all designed around player welfare and making sure they don't play too many games. And therefore, as being one of these premium players, he was never, ever going to play in that Toulouse game. So very interesting one, that one, that kind of, it's almost like the French own policy has backfired on them in this example. But I think everybody's trying to do the right thing. And this is the result. Bad for France this week, but that's the way it goes. What did I want to see from them against England? I wanted to see them keep the ball alive, lots of power, lots of offloading. You know, and I think we did see that for decent periods of time. They got chances, they made chances, and they did that with some remarkable handling phases, especially considering the weather. The fact that they couldn't finish them was another whole matter altogether. Overall, though, the French have just been... Well, they hammered Wales in the first week, which was easy. And then a little bit, well, they weren't even off colour against England, I wouldn't say. They just didn't take their chances when they were there. And they had a lot in the first 20 minutes. Who knows how the game would have panned out if they'd taken one or two of those early chances. But dropping all those chances didn't help. And they were still winning in the 79th minute. Let's not forget that as well. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think this French team is obviously still a remarkable side, full of great players. And, as I mentioned at the start, some great players coming back in. So let's get into the selection. And this is what I think they may well pick for this match against Italy. But like I said, sometimes French selection in particular can be very difficult to predict. However, one that I think is obvious and will definitely happen is Thibaut Flamand coming back into the second row. Rumar in there. I mean, he did pretty well in the line out, but the scrum was nowhere near as dominant. I think Flamand will add to that. I think their lineup will be better with Flamand in there as well. He played 40 minutes away at Clermont last weekend and has come through just fine. I also think they might freshen up the front row, getting Cyril Bay back in there. Jean-Baptiste Gros, I think, has played really well. Certainly looks incredibly mobile. You know, that was notable with him covering across in the corner at the Allianz Stadium against England to snuff out what would have been a certain England try if he wasn't there. And he's played well, but also they got Reda Wardy now back fit and available, who's another very good loosehead. So whoever they pick, they're strong in that position. I think the back row stays the same. They have been industrious, worked hard, and with Aldry, they've just got such a quality footballer there that they can play all kinds of different styles. Manny Miafu has been sick this week, apparently. That's reported now, so I'm assuming, depending on what it is, obviously, that he might be fit and well by the weekend. But if not, then he may well get replaced straight away by Roman Telfa-Fanua to come straight back in as that huge lump of a second row that the French love to have. Okay, as we go into the backs, the question mark maybe is around 10. When lining up for the England game, Galthie said that they wouldn't think about having Ramos at 10 because they didn't have someone like Leo Barry at fullback, available at fullback. Well, Barry is available this weekend. Does that mean they will go with Ramos and drop Jalibert? Hard to say. I thought Jalibert played absolutely fine at Twickenham. He didn't set the world alight. He didn't make any clangers. He just had a good, solid game, I thought. So I don't see any reason to drop him. And I won't in my selection. Keep him in there. Try and keep them relatively settled in that back line compared to the previous fixture. Just with Galthie coming back in. I question this briefly because he hasn't actually played this year at all. So it's possible that he may be a bit ring rusty, but I just think he's such a quality player. He's one of the types of players that can just come in, fit back in seamlessly and just get on with his job. And I think he's been such a fixture in this French midfield for so long that I think he should come back in. Barassi's done fine. Didn't set the world alight, but he's done a solid job for the French whilst Fickou has been out injured. Onto the bench, Marchand. Gros comes in there from his starting position. I want Slimani in there as a tight end replacement. Hasn't played international rugby for a long time, and I'd love to see him get back on the pitch. Telfa-Fanua and Jelonch as well, another huge figure in this French side to come back on the bench with Jegu, Le Garrec and Barassi to move to the bench. I considered maybe Gaetan because he can cover fullback, but then there's lots of the players in the French back line can all play lots of different positions. So I don't think that's a huge factor. In terms of coming into this week now with the Italians, what do I want to see from them? This is really simple, actually. And it's consistency of application. I think we've definitely seen, and it's cliche, I know, but sometimes the French don't turn up. I think if they're going to be a serious outfit going forward, they have to go to Italy and just turn it on. If they play well, they'll beat Italy. They're a better side than Italy, but Italy have competed with French so well in recent years in the Six Nations. So again, that's probably application of the French players not taking Italy as seriously as they might, and it has bitten them in a few times in the past. So that's what I want to see from the French. This is the team I think they'll pick, but like I said, who really knows? Let me know in the comments down below if you've got some different ideas. It'd be great to chat. Give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. If you don't mind, it helps other people find it, and you can subscribe there. You can watch that one next, and don't forget to get out and play.